A warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, we've heard about anxiety and we've heard about some levels of stress in children. What are the main factors contributing to students' anxiety and stress today?
Right. So that's a very, very valid question. Ever since COVID has hit us, we have seen that the cases of anxiety and stress has significantly gone up amongst children. And a lot of factors contribute to that because the children of this age, they have seen bereavements, they have seen uncertainty, they have seen their parents losing their jobs, they have witnessed a lot of fear. Now, keeping all that in mind, once they have come out of their houses into this open space, they are still carrying those fears, which needs to be addressed. The reason why we have so many children experiencing anxiety and stress these days, and not only the children in the senior school, middle school, we see it right from inception, even when the children walk into their elementary classes. And it is something that needs to be addressed very, very urgently.
So, do children tend to carry stress from home from to school, or it's the other way around? How does it really work?
So, a lot of factors contributing to that. Now, the children are exposed to a lot of material online. There is the OTT platform, which has set up some kind of a standard for the children to live up to. That acknowledgement, what the children look for these days, more than internal appreciation, they want external appreciation. Now, once a child gets caught in that web, the number of likes they are getting, the number of followers they have, and everybody is into that world. Not only children, I think even adults are going through that kind of a stress to see how much online appreciation they are getting. So, here, as educators, as a school, as an institution, we need to look within and also educate the children that it is what you are doing for yourself, build up on their self esteem, because they will have stresses like examination happening, which has always been there. But somehow we handle it much more better way than the children now, because there are a lot of external factors over there. Again, external appreciation. If you let the child know that it's okay, you don't have to be a 90%er in everything, relax, give them those strategies, give them those soft skills which will help them equipped to deal with these kind of day-to-day stresses, I think we will be able to make a society better to live
I
in.
think that's a very relevant point because earlier it was more inside out, how you are. And it's what I hear is it's more outside in now. And that's one cause of stress to children and also adults, as you said.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
what are the early signs and how can you identify that there is some amount of stress or mental trauma that's building up in a child?
Right. So, very, very significant, symptoms or lead-ons to see that a child is under stress is their body language. Here, as educators, we need to study the non-verbal cues more than the verbal cues, because often you will see a child or children going through stress, going through anxiety, will not be able to concentrate in the classroom. They will not be able to sit in the classroom for a very long time. They're not able to regulate their emotions very appropriately. That should be the first catching sign that the child definitely needs help and the child needs to be spoken to. With young children, most probable symptom that you will see is stomach aches, headaches which come out of nowhere, not wanting to be in school, not wanting to go or meet people outside of the domain of the people that they know. Again, COVID, I think, has contributed largely to that because they were confined to their homes. Right. COVID babies, as we say, they are not used to a social setup which is open where they would just kind of go and start meeting everyone. So a lot of work needs to be done over there. And that is where the responsibility of the institutions come in, because educators have to be on the same page to be able to understand and pick up these early signs. Because the earlier we pick up these signs, the earlier the intervention can be provided, and we can prevent a lot of other things following up after that.
So, are there any specific approaches you follow as a protocol when you identify such things in a child?
Absolutely. So we have a very active counseling body in the school. We work very, very closely with the parents. We run, a gamut of workshops under the name of Shri Suraksha, wherein we teach the teachers to identify these symptoms. In case if we see that there is something out of the normal happening with a child, we approach the parents. We let them know that this is what is happening, and we work very, very closely with the parents, because a parent will not have that understanding, because in a home situation you see a child in a very different form vis-a-vis what you will see the child in a social setup. Whenever these signs are identified, we talk to the parents, we consult with them, we put the child immediately on counseling with the consent of the parents. And not only do the counselors work with the children, but the entire school environment is then set up so that the child has a very, very comfortable space to talk, to have a dialogue, to communicate, and to let the emotions out.
And the parents might have to play a very important role in this, because after all this ecosystem that you build up in school, they will go back to their homes. So are there any extra efforts that need to also educate the parents on what to, how to go about, and would you want to reinforce that after a week or every month? How does that work?
Right. So, with very young children, when we offer the counseling support, it is the counseling support we give to the parents. We work with the children through the parents. And once the parents are on board, they understand, okay, these are the kind of interventions we need to put in place where the children are concerned. With the older children, most of the times they don't want their parents to know of the kind of stress they are going through. Keeping confidentiality in mind, we do a lot of sittings and counseling sessions with the children in the school. Wherever there's a requirement, we take the consent of the child and get the parents in, because as stakeholders, parents become a very important part of this dialogue that you're having with the child. Until the time home and school do not align, we will not be able to do what we have, set out on. So, parents, once they have been informed, we keep meeting them regularly. We have separate meetings with the parents, separate sessions with the children, and by and large, by the end of it, through a couple of sessions over months, 2 months, 3 months, we are able to sort out the issues and get the child on board and going where they are able to at least manage their day-to-day emotions.
That's very insightful, and I think very progressive that you've left the decision on the child, whether the
Absolutely.
child wants the parents to be involved or not. I mean, at times the child may not be comfortable their parents knowing.
Most
I
of
mean,
the times they're not,
most of
actually.
the time
Yes.
they're not. That's
Yeah.
very insightful, and I think that's very good information, so that parents should understand that it's ultimately the child's decision on whether the child wants the parents to step in or not.
Absolutely, yes.
So I think in looking ahead, what role do you see schools playing in a larger, broader sense of mental health? Because I see that what I hear is that while the teachers are well equipped and educated, children are getting more empowered. So in the future, how do you think this will pan out in schools? So
I think school as an institution plays a very, very important and a significant role over here, because almost 8, 9 to 10 hours they are spending their time in school in interaction with their peers. And a lot of pressure starts from there, in schools when they sit over break time or lunchtime when they are not really monitored so closely, is where a lot of conversations start. So the schools have to have that kind of a system. They have to have it in the organic thread of the institution where every single educator must be aware of the kind of things the children are talking about, the kind of platforms the children are using, because a lot of not only physical but online stuff is going on where intervention is required, where knowledge is required, so that the teachers are aware, so that they are able to provide the right kind of intervention as and when required. Because if that does not happen, then it is a huge catastrophe that we are inviting on. Because the kind of things that the children are getting into these days, it is almost, you can't even begin to imagine. So, as stakeholders, the teachers, the parents, we all have to work together to make school environment the safest for the children, to make the school environment very, very inclusive, to make the school environment very, very open, where communication should not stop. Whether it is the parent, whether it is the student, whether it is the teacher, we have to keep that dialogue on. Dialogue where mental health or any other issue is not taken as a stigma. With open arms, you accept it. There should be inclusivity of any such thing happening, only then everybody has that comfort zone. Once you provide that comfort zone, I think you can deal with anything that comes your way, because if the child feels acknowledged, if the child doesn't feel threatened, if you have a non judgmental environment, with open arms, you can accept whatever comes your way and you can put the right intervention, because that faith has been developed. That's very, very critical.
So
And
developing faith, having trusting your children,
totally.
making sure that they're not under any peer pressure. These are some of the crucial things that have to be looked into.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this session, and very insightful. I hope our viewers, parents, and anybody who's interested in knowing more about this benefit from this session. Thank you so
Totally.
much.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you.